things that ECCO has been working on, especially since the current director, Dr. Alexandra Pinoris-Shields, has become the executive director of ECCO, has been to place the people who are most affected by an issue at the center of our work. So our board has changed from historically being the churches that provided the most money to a particular institution to, again, populating the board with as many people from the communities that are most affected. It has changed our kind of philosophy of leadership, and also checking in with our community leaders before we do a thing to make sure that they're behind what we are doing, that we're not borrowing, their icons, their symbolism, their dead for, our moral outrage. So for example, on this pilgrimage, we carried the coffin with the pictures of the children who had died in ICE custody. But we also carried a picture of Valeria and her father, shoot, I can't remember his name now, who died, on the banks of the Rio. And originally our thought was to use that picture. And our community leader says, you can't do that. That's triggering and violence and, disrespectful. And so a member of one of our churches, drew a picture of their living rather than a picture of them dead. So this has been really a journey of trying to, turn off as much of my white alpha male genes as possible in order to try to be attentive to what people are really saying and people are really communicating, and to know that I still don't get it. I can't really get it. Until we know clearly how much we are apart. And we have to live in that place of disconnect. And so, as a faith leader, like I would have thought my ministry was trying to, create a world big enough, a theology that's big enough to contain it all. But actually some recent training is suggesting actually maybe this is the moment actually for polarization. To actually make clear the moral crisis that's in front of us, and to actually make that moral crisis so visible, it forces people into the truth. So before we get to the resurrection, we actually have to really stare at the crucifixion.
So carrying a coffin for 6 days.
Right. Right. Exactly.
Yeah.
And that's been a shock to me.
Saying this is not just a theory about what's happening at the border. These are real lives that have been taken because of some policies.
That's right. Right. It's not just generic trauma. It's Jacqueline's trauma or Carlos's trauma. Or Valerie's trauma, or it's like, this person was 16 and that person was 2 months old and that person was. So there's a polarizing action. And again, kind of Christologically, it is the truth of the crucifixion. We have to go through Holy Week. We have to hang out there. We just can't go from Palm Sunday to Easter Sunday. We actually have to go through like the trauma and real suffering of Holy Week in order for us to experience Easter Sunday. And it feels like to me that we're in like this Holy Week experience because that's what our neighbors are experiencing every day of their lives.
Walking together that way,
right,
what have you seen? What impact have you seen on your leadership or the congregation?
So I think it has. It's just been. I think it's been opening. It's been opening for us all, and the importance of continually extending invitations. Because I have been surprised by which members of my congregation have showed up for various things. If you had asked me before who's going to show up, I would have gotten it all wrong. So that has been a blessing, actually, is the importance of continuing to invite responses and being patient with the congregation, but then being surprised on the upside by who responds. And it to be very unexpected.
Great.